and welcome back to another episode of You Might Know Her From
with Anne and Damian.
We're here, babies. We're here chugging right along. The situation is still the same, which is that SAG-AFTRA is still on strike, so we are not conducting actress interviews, which is what we usually do on this podcast, where Damian and I, best friends, queer, weird, pop culture, character, actress enthusiasts, shoot the shit with each other about the comings and goings of our life, and then interview an actress each episode. We're in season 5. We've been doing it for years at this point, but we're on hiatus because we can't ask any actresses or their managers for interviews. So in the meantime, we've been doing these special one-off episodes. And so thank you for sticking with us. SAG is doing their best. They're out on the picket lines. They're trying to negotiate with the They're trying to negotiate. They're trying to negotiate with AMPTP, who I think delivered their last and final offer this past week, which is such bullshit, which is what they had given to the WGA. And the WGA was like, fuck off. And then they finally got back to the table and got most of what they wanted. But I just wanted to bring to your attention, like, what SAG is up against. And this is basically something we were reading about today called the zombie clause. Damian, have you heard about this?
This is when you get paid to get your body or your likeness scanned by AI, and then they can use it in perpetuity. Even after you've died, they don't have to go to the estate or your next of kin and get permission. So essentially, and I think it's for if you make a certain if you're I'm not even a movie star. If you're just a known actor and you are working and you make over X amount of money for your show or movies, then if your rate is, then you get paid this one flat fee. And then if you die and you're like Angelina Jolie, they don't need to go to Shiloh or any of the other children to get the permission so she can be in Maleficent 25 as a cartoon version of herself, because she did this when she was still she got the scan done when she was 52 or something.
It's terrible. Is she 52? She can't be 50. I feel like you aged her up.
I feel like she's somebody who's been 43 forever.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, so this was the clause that was in the AMPTP's last, best, and final offer, which is such bullshit. So we are here in solidarity. Damian and I will be here as long as the strike lasts, and as soon as it ends, we will be back at you as soon as we can with actress episodes. So
we do have some already done, which is annoying because I don't want them to feel dated, and I know you guys will be excited about them because we talk about, as you know, and hopefully you remember if you are a longtime listener or just have listened before, we do deep dives. So we really dig into the entire oeuvre, but we did do some interviews prior to the SAG strike that we were ready to release, and then we had to stop in our tracks.
I don't want to toot our own horn too much, but I will say both of them were huge gets for us.
Completely.
We were so excited. We were like, should we even release these in the summer because it's such a quiet time? Should we save them for the fall? And then that became what it became. So, but when the strike ends, please know we'll be back here with you. So thanks for sticking with us. Damian, how are you? How is your mind? How is your body?
I have to say, we haven't done a lot of body talk lately, but I will say that my body is really tired. I just got back from a work trip. I was in Vegas for BravoCon for work because my boss was moderating a panel. And so therefore the digital team went to get some footage or content. And I think just the time change mixed with daylight savings time, I am just depleted. I feel like I need a week to sleep, but I'm alive and I'm here. And Vegas.
Yeah, tell me what you think about Vegas, because I have strong opinions, but I haven't been in years. And the only times I've ever been has similarly been for work trips, which is its own specific world.
I feel like I had only been once prior, and I was, I think, 18 when I went. So it was a totally different thing. I couldn't drink, I couldn't gamble, blah, 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 blah. So this trip, because it was work, I feel like maybe I didn't really get the full experience, because it would be I'm working, and then I would be done work, and I was well, what am I going to... I hate gambling, so it's not of interest to me. And then I tried to see Kylie Minogue, which was I was last minute. When I found out I was going to be there, I was I knew the tickets already had sold out immediately because it's a small venue where she's playing. But I was but maybe I'll buy a ticket on whatever, on a third-party site, someone reselling their ticket. The tickets for Kylie for Saturday were $1,800, $1,500. And I was I cannot... I was gonna say I cannot justify it, but I cannot afford it. It's just like way too much money, but I really wanted to do that. So I didn't see a show. I did have some beautiful dinners with colleagues, but overall I just felt like it was mostly like going. And then it would be like I'm walking around and like I feel overstimulated by like, it feels like certain parts of it feel like very Times Square. It feels like Times Square meets not Salt Lake City. Times Square meets Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I would like to go with people who like maybe like live in LA. Like our friends Brian and John, I feel like go with some frequency, and I feel like they probably know it in a more intimate, different way than like me, who's never really been, and is like, oh, like what am I supposed to do?
Right. No, I have no idea. I'll tell you the one thing that I find troubling, and it's all the carpet. It's all
it's exactly right. That's why it's the Atlantic
casinos.
City part. It's like the smoke is like the cigarette smoke that is like embedded into the carpets.
Yeah. And I was sort of like, I mean, I haven't been to the fanciest places in Vegas, but I did stay with my boss. And we had like a suite at Caesars, which I don't even know like where that stands on the tier of fanciness. I know it's like old, but maybe it's like actually trashy. I have no idea. But he had like this very fancy suite where we hosted. I was working in wine at the time, but it was so wild because he had such a nice suite and then he had to leave. So I got to like close the suite out. And then I was like, gross, I don't want to like sleep in the same bed that my boss had slept in. That's like disgusting, even though we got it. Like, you know, room service came, which was great, but it had one of the fanciest showers that I've ever seen in my entire life, where it had 3 heads. So there was a front, a back, and a side, and it was all glass. And because we had been hosting at this like wine convention, there were like 30 bottles of open, really fancy champagne and wine that had just been opened that day. So I bought myself a ticket to Olivia Newton-John, may she rest, and I like blasted music and took a shower and had like 3 bottles of champagne in the shower. And I was like, this is the highest I will ever live. Do you know what I mean? Like I could never afford a room like this. I could never be in a place like this. My boss is out of the city. So I know there's no like chance that he's going to knock on the door. And I've got all of this fancy champagne. And it was like I had like a great 12 hours by myself in Las Vegas. I don't even know what I ate. Like I probably got like a turkey club at the bar. I think I like texted you or called you from the bar where I was like, I don't know where to go. I don't want to go have a fancy dinner by myself. I don't like being at restaurants by myself. Have we talked about this? I don't like spending money to like eat a fancy meal by myself. I love to sit at a bar by myself. But
yeah, you love
I was
to sit
like,
at a bar.
I can't. Yeah, I love to sit at a bar, but I can't justify like $100 like sitting by myself. Because also like, what am I like? I guess I could read, but then I have to like use my fork, and then it's like I people watch, and that's nice. But I don't want to be on my phone.
I like to go to like a diner by myself. I like that.
Okay, a diner, yes.
It's so funny that you said that. Like, you're like, I don't even know what I ate, because I have such a specific memory of you being like, I went to the bar and I got like, I thought it was a ham sandwich, but like a turkey sandwich, and you were like talking to a man at the bar.
Yes, this is right. Because I was like, I just need to get to the show, but I don't want to spend money on the food at the show. I'm ready to spend like $70 on 2 drinks, but that's right. Yeah. So that was like, I think you and I could like have a good time if we went and did like cheesy Vegas. Like I'm kind of into cheesy Vegas. I'm not into like fancy Vegas. So I could see a version
Vegas, so
of
it
that.
feels to me, and this is no insult to any of our listeners that might be from Vegas or, you know, Vegas adjacent, but to me, it's just like, it's not fancy. So like, I don't want to like, it's like the idea of balling in Vegas is like not appealing to me. You know, it's like not me. It's not for me.
I agree. I wouldn't know how to do it. I guess if somebody like took me out and paid for everything, sure, I'm willing to opt into that experience. But yeah, it seems cheesy. But I feel like I saw Celine Dion there, and that was like one of the highlights of my life, and I feel really grateful that I did. But maybe we should think about planning
we should have seen the Backstreet Boys when they had their residency there. That would have been for us, you know. Maybe the Spice Girls will do a residency there one day.
It seems like that does seem like something that's where they would land. You know, I don't think they have it in them to be on a tour bus or a tour plane together.
I feel like it used to feel like, and again, I don't know, I feel like there's probably somebody who really knows this and will maybe tell us differently, but I feel like it used to feel like people would go and do like a 3-month residency in Vegas or longer, and like extend and be there for like years. Now it feels like people are like it's like Adele has a residency for 6 weeks, and it's like, what? Like, it doesn't feel like people go and necessarily do them for big chunks of time now. It's like kind of a rotating. Is that right? Or does it feel like
I think that's right. Also, it means like, I don't know, like I think I saw Celine Dion 5 or 6 years ago. It was a while ago at this point, but the tickets were not crazy expensive, and you know, they were like under $100, and they were decent seats. And I feel like that maybe doesn't exist anymore, and that feels upsetting. But yeah, probably because of those limited windows of time where people do residencies for like 6 months. Celine Dion, like they built the theater where she did her residency like for her, which is badass. I just wanted to let you know, separate from Vegas, that I have 1 hour left in Britney Spears' The Woman Inside Me. So I have been powering through it while I commute and wash dishes. And it has not disappointed. Like Michelle Williams is as good as everyone said that she is. And I sort of was like, I don't really understand why it's her. I understand that she wants to get a Grammy and EGOT, totally get it. But I actually do think that thing happened where someone online compared it to like Ana de Armas in Blonde, which was a piece of shit film, but I do think Ana de Armas was quite good. And like, she doesn't really look like her or exactly sound like her, but by the time that you're like 20 minutes in, there's this weird transposing that's happened where you're like, I believe that it's her somehow. I think that's what Michelle Williams achieved. And it's like, I feel for Britney. The whole thing is very dark.
I agree. And listeners, if you haven't listened, I recommend listening to it. But
Yes.
I think the book is like better. It's like, it sounds just like Britney in that it feels like it's her voice. It feels mostly like her language. It feels, but it also feels self-aware, and it feels smarter than I expected it to be. And I think that the ghostwriter did a good job. I assume this was done by like interviewing her. So I feel like they did a good job of like asking good follow-up questions and getting specifics out of her. And it just feels like the sentence structure, or as it is read, feels a little bit chaotic, which feels right, but also it feels smart and self-aware, which maybe I wasn't expecting. And I agree that Michelle Williams at a certain point, I forgot I was listening to Michelle Williams. And I don't know that I was like, oh, I'm listening to Britney read it. I just felt like I was whatever it was felt right. And I thought she was pretty transcendent in it. And yeah, when she tells like Jamie, like she calls Jamie Lynn like a little bitch or something at some point, and it just like feels like Britney. And I was like, wow, way to go.
I guess I was ready to be like, okay, who cares that much about the Michelle Williams at all? But I really think she did Britney justice. And there was that moment that I haven't seen anybody talking about it, but like she mentions Paula Cole. And it was like having Michelle Williams talk about Paula Cole was such a like weird meta experience, because I feel like Michelle and Britney, are they close in age? Meaning in my head, I was like, oh my God, Britney's only like 40.
Yeah, that's right. They would be close in age, probably the same age.
So I guess it sort of fulfills the same millennial softness that I have for both of them. But it's a great thing. I'm really happy that Britney's book is out. I'm glad that it does feel like her, and she didn't even really have to promote it. She didn't really have to do anything to do it. So I hope that she has peace. I hope that she gets to do whatever she wants with the rest of her life. And if that means never stepping on stage again, I'm all for it.
Can we just talk about it for a moment, though, when she talks about Ruthless, being in Ruthless off-Broadway and being an understudy for Laura Bell Bundy? And I was just imagining Laura Bell Bundy getting that Google alert and being so tickled and pleased. Or like, and also that she like was friends with Natalie Portman, who was the other understudy, enough that they like threw a New Year's party together, like, 12 years later, 15 years later.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that. I feel like the book is pretty candid without being too, like, I feel like she still holds things close to her chest and honestly doesn't even really throw Justin under the bus in the way that I think all the headlines have alluded to. And I feel like she talked about like her 2-week romance affair, whatever, fling with Colin Farrell and all of the things that sort of ring bells for us that lived through her tabloid history. But there's a lot of darkness there too, and her family is so deeply fucked up, but it opens like on a very serious note, like talking about her aunt who struggled with mental illness. I don't know. I was kind of impressed by the whole thing. And I agree. I would recommend listening to it above all else. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I haven't had the best year. So I've been really struggling to finish a book, which is something that I feel like keeps my brain fresh and occupied and creative. So I've been struggling to read this year, which has not been satisfying. But I think the thing that got me back on the wagon was reading Elliot Page's autobiography or his memoir. So I finished that and read that like in 2 days. And that was actually very juicy. And
I forgot you read that.
Kind of revealing in ways that I thought were, I think his journey is super fascinating. He is really smart, and I think has good politics and is such a great voice in this world. But like some of the reveals were kind of like, oh, okay. I'm not throwing people under the bus, but I just feel like, wow, that is a lot of reveals. And maybe that was part of his transition, is sort of like coming clean about all of these things in his past. But a lot of it included other celebrities and people that he had slept with over the years. I feel like that was the thing that was like, okay, now I'm ready to like dive right into Britney's book. And I feel like Britney also similarly was like pretty candid, but I felt like played it a little closer to the vest related to, like, I don't think she really threw anybody under the bus more than Jamie Lynn, who seems awful.
Yeah, Jamie Lynn seems terrible.
But like today is a big day because Barbara Streisand's memoir just came out on audiobook, and my pre-order just came through. So like,
oh my God, that's what, you got an audiobook? Yeah.
I got an audiobook. I'm going to buy the hard copy too, because I just need to have it on my shelf, because I know there's going to be some insanity that you have to revisit in the written word. But I am so excited to dive into Barbara's book, which is like 15 hours or something insane. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's very long. I also had I got an email from Audible and I was like, I canceled you. But it was like, now I realize that's what it was. It was saying, it said something like your pre-orders are almost ready or something. And I was like, what the fuck? But that's what it was. I forgot because I also pre-ordered it. I can't wait to listen to it. I hope it's dishy. Something I'm wondering about all of these books, Elliot's and Britney's and also Barbara's, is don't they have to like send copies or at least the excerpts of people if they talk about them for like legality reasons? So like, did Justin Timberlake know this was coming, and like, did he try to put a stop to it, / does he not have a choice? Because like, I don't know.
The fact checkers, right? The publishers have to have some sort of fact checker. So yeah, I don't know how, because this is obviously authorized. It's her book. So you would assume there would be a fair amount of fact checking. I don't know. I read a rumor that he had a comeback slated for this window of time, and that now he's sort of going into hiding with Jessica Biel, which who cares? He was never my NSYNC. It was always JC. Do you know what I mean?
Same.
Like I never cared about Justin Timberlake.
Well, I cared about him, but JC was number one.
Yeah, I love JC. I still do, and I feel like if were you saying this like now he needs the comeback? I was like, oh yeah, now either you or one of our friends was saying the other day, like now he needs the NSYNC comeback, whereas like before people were like, why would he even do this? Like, bitch, now you need to do this.
Yeah, we were Backstreet Boys kids though. Really, they were our preference. Is that wrong?
No. I was no, it's not
you
wrong.
Stopped.
I was pausing,
you stopped in your tracks.
I was literally revisiting Michelle Williams reading Britney's book, saying like, when she says faux shiz, and does the impression of Justin Timberlake, she's like, NSYNC was what they called So Pimp back in the day, and they were marketing themselves to a black audience, and they hung out with black artists, and the Backstreet Boys were like specifically targeting a white audience. And I was like, is that true? I had never really thought of it one way or another, but now I can't stop thinking of it and hearing Michelle Williams as Britney Spears in my head.
That does not feel true to me, but I guess I defer to Britney because she was living the experience, so she knew the intel from like Lou Pearlman and Justin of like how they were trying to market the band, I suppose.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I saw someone on Twitter talking about how Britney like always incorporated like elements of R&B and gospel in her music, especially early on, but she was never like appropriating black culture, and she's like an artist that doesn't often get like any sort of shine in that way. And I thought that was interesting and made me think about like, you know, her, especially her vocals in her early career. But then it made me think about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, because I feel like those groups also had elements of like R&B in their group that I don't know. I don't think I know well enough to say like, were they appropriating anything? But I feel like Joey Fatone thought he was like, and JC thought they were like soulful singers, you know?
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I just always thought of them as like extremely white. They just all seemed extremely white in NSYNC. But yeah, Chris Kirkpatrick did have some sort of box braid situation happening.
Oh my God, you're so
a problem.
He is disgusting. I don't mind saying so on the record.
It's a problem.
It's interesting. Like, was one of them, who was more? We're really just going, but was one of them more successful than the other, or like they both were? They really like. Was there parity between the groups?
And I feel like the Backstreet Boys, maybe like You Are My whatever, I Want It That Way, maybe was like the biggest hit of all time. But I feel like NSYNC probably had a more rabid sexual fan base of young girls. And then Justin Timberlake took that to another level. So I feel like people were more attracted to NSYNC.
Were they? I feel like collectively.
Because they danced more than the Backstreet Boys.
The Backstreet Boys collectively are more attractive, though.
I 1,000% agree. I definitely liked both, but I was 100% a Backstreet Boys super fan.
Folks, who were you more into? Backstreet or BSB or NSYNC?
I also wanted to bring to your attention something I realized recently is that Taylor Hanson has 5 children.
You did send me that, and I was like, who is this? And then I thought it was Zach for a minute, Zach Hanson, and then I realized it was Taylor, who he still looks the same.
Yeah, he does. He's still wearing like puka shell necklaces and has like his hair's slightly shorter. It hits the shoulder. But yeah, I liked Hanson too.
Were they religious?
I think they maybe are born again Christian or Mormon. I'm not going to dive too deep on it. Hannah and I were looking them up recently because I was like, who aged better? Isaac was like the one everybody thought was hideous, but I think he actually aged the best out of all of them.
Okay.
He looks like a nice, normal person now, but I think they all have 5 to 7 children each.
I think Zach has a lot of kids too, and also got married quite young.
It speaks to some sort of religious background that I find unsettling.
How many Hanson songs can you name?
Okay, let's see off the top
without looking anything up.
Okay, Mbop, obviously, Where's the Love? Those are their 2 singles. What else can I name? There's one that I learned to play on piano because I bought the piano songbook for Middle of Nowhere, which was their album. But those are maybe the only 2 that I can name. Where's the Love? I don't know. Can you name any others?
There's one that's like that Gloria Stuart is in the music video too, and they're like on the Titanic. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know this.
Yeah, it's a single. It was maybe the next single because I feel like at a certain point then I was like, this is all that I know. But I don't know that I can remember. Yeah, I don't think I have any. Oh, maybe. Yeah, now I'm looking up. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm very excited to like have another. Oh, I Will Come to You. That's the one that I know how to play on the piano.
Gimme Some Lovin'. Is that a song?
I don't know. If Gloria Stuart's involved, I'm obviously going to spend a lot of time on this.
It's like Titanic. It's like Titanic spoof. It's a Titanic.
I like how you're saying Titanic. It sounds very elegant. Titanic.
River. It's River.
I don't know it.
River by Hanson. Everyone look up River by Hanson to see Gloria Stuart's last on-camera role. I don't know if that's true.
Was it?
I don't know if that's true. Do you remember when Gloria Stuart was the favorite to win the Oscar and then she didn't win?
Who was she up against? That year? Yes, I do.
I know who won, but I don't know anybody else who was up for the category. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me.
Kim Basinger. Basinger.
Oh, I love that for her in LA Confidential.
Yeah.
Good for her. She was good in that.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I know that she had panic attacks, and I feel sorry for her that she was married to Alec Baldwin for as long as she is. I have a few facts about Kim Basinger. Panic attacks, Alec Baldwin, and Ireland Baldwin. That's really about as far as it goes.
I know some of her credits. Vicky Vale in Batman, Door in the Floor, which I was into. That's all I got.
Door in the Floor? Is that a scary movie?
No, it's like a very small indie film. I think it's directed by the same person who directed In the Bedroom, and it's like very like New England. It's like her and Jeff Bridges.
It's like a John Irving book turned into
it's maybe even. I think it's a short story. Yeah, no, it's not like A Message in the Bottle.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I thought you just said it's a very Message in the Bottle.
I feel like that I can see the movie cover. They seem like the same movie cover to me.
Oh, yes. But Door in the Floor is much more of like it is Jeff Bridges. Wow, my brain does know something.
Yeah, I can see the cover. Does she have like a blanket wrapped around her on the beach?
No, I think that is that's
Message in a Bottle, and that's Robin Wright Penn.
Period. What do you think about movies that are... Guys, folks, we are just going on a tear. This is our mind grapes just unleashed on you.
We need SAG-AFTRA back.
What do you think of movies that are named after a song title? I hate them.
Hate it, but is Message in a Bottle named after that?
The police song.
Is it
not? Is it not?
I have no idea. But I mean, Message in a Bottle is like a thing.
I know, but...
I don't know, but I hate the police.
Is Message
ACAB. I really don't like that group.
Do you think Message in a Bottle...
What other movies are named after a song? Love Potion No. 9. I love that movie.
Love Don't Cost a Thing. Isn't that like a Nick Cannon movie?
Is that a movie?
Yeah. I think it's Nick Cannon.
I haven't seen it. I don't know that I would support any Nick Cannon
Can't Buy Me Love.
I liked that one.
Is that with who's the...
Patrick Dempsey?
I would say it's Patrick Dempsey, right?
Yeah. You know what? I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50 right now.
There's more, I know, but I don't think I like it.
I like this opinion.
I just feel like you should be more original than it's like, I guess it's like just trying to exploit the IP, which is all that anyone's ever trying to do. It's like, oh, name recognition for this J-Lo song. Let's make a movie for Nick Cannon called this. And like maybe it's used in the trailer in the end credits or something.
Oh, yeah, no, that's horrible. I don't like that at all. Can I tell you something that makes me a little sad? It's that you still haven't watched The Morning Show. And it's about to be over season 3. But I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of things that have happened in season 3. More lesbianism with no chemistry. Reese Witherspoon in space. John Hamm in space. A cyber attack and the insurrection. It is and of course the overarching theme of all seasons of the morning show is cancel culture. So whether or not it is Steve Carell sleeping with employees or Holland Taylor calling someone Aunt Jemima, it really...
I didn't know that Holland Taylor was in the morning show.
She's only in a few episodes. All of a sudden, this last episode, Elizabeth Perkins shows up, who I love. And I'm like, you're literally barely using her. I've never seen Reese Witherspoon be worse in my entire life, and it is hysterical. It is insane. I can't get over how bad the show is, but I can't stop watching it. Jennifer Aniston, I think best in show. Billy Crudup continues to play it like a joker. There's musical numbers. Juliana Margulies plays a lesbian with Reese Witherspoon, and you've never seen two people look more like they've never met.
Wow. Okay. You're selling to me. We talked about it recently, and you were also trying to bully me into watching it. And I was like, oh, is so-and-so still on it? And you just kept doing that thing where you would put your finger across your neck to suggest that they were dead.
You were mentioning, who were you? Was it about Gugu and Batha Raw?
Yeah.
You were like, is she still on it? And I was like, well, you got to watch to find out. She plays an important role, but she may or may not be on it anymore.
Yes.
Oh,
I love Gugu and
like,
Batha Raw.
Yeah, she's great. No one is good. The good thing is on the show is that like Karen Pittman is on it, and I think she's extremely talented. No one is good on the show because the show doesn't allow anyone to be good because the material is so insane. The editing is insane. The musical choices are insane. Everything about it makes no sense. There's a lot of COVID in it. Nobody wants that on their TV show. I can't tell you, like, how does this show... I hope it gets renewed again. I hope it gets a season 4.
Refresh my memory. Is Valerie Mahaffey in it? Does she play like Jennifer Aniston's agent or something?
Not that I remember, but so much happened. Somebody
plays... Remember we talked about this. Somebody plays Jennifer Aniston's agent, and it's like a scene where
they're
like...
I think it's Adina Porter in like half of an episode of season 1, and then she like never comes back.
That's what I was going to ask, if she ever came back.
No,
you're right. It was Adina Porter.
There's no continuity. It's just like one of these things where it tries to be prestige, but it's so bad that I'm like, are people fooled into thinking that it's good? I'm trying to figure out what is the audience for the morning show besides me hate watching it. Also, like, the Gilded Age is back, but I've got to finish the morning show before I dive in.
I think that one of the things that I love the most about television shows that I love is the continuity. It's like the Bible of the show, and I love when they bring people back, and I love when there's like...
It pays off.
Yeah, so when there's payoff. And I feel like the glut of television in the last, 5 years, maybe longer, like post the golden era, as people called of television, I feel like all of the shows are like supposed to be good, and then there's like huge holes of like, who's writing this? Like, is there not a show Bible, you know?
Yeah. I quickly want to call back our first virtual episode, I think, which was with Persia White, where she talks about the show Bible for the fucking Vampire Diaries and the spinoff that she was on, right? What was the spinoff of the Vampire Diaries?
The originals?
Yes. And like, I'm sorry, these CW shows have a Bible. If a CW show has a show Bible that it makes incoming actors reference in order to play a part on the show, a fucking show on Apple TV or Max or Showtime should have a fucking show Bible, because there's no continuity. Where are they not paying script supervisors anymore? Put it in the strike. Let's get this figured out, because I need it to be better. That being said, please watch the morning show and DM me. I really, like, not enough people are watching it, and I need it to get renewed because it's so bad and so delicious.
I will wholeheartedly agree. And speaking of DMs, folks, this is a great opportunity for us to announce that next episode, which we'll be releasing the week of Thanksgiving, we will be taking your questions. They can be about whatever. We will decide which of them we want to answer. But you can ask us anything. You can DM me or Anne. You can DM us together. You can DM one of us. If you only follow one, why do you only follow one of us?
Exactly.
Maybe we'll do some questions on Instagram as well as a way to cull them. Anne likes that word, cull. You can email us if you find our email address on our website. However it is most convenient for you, you can reach out to us. But we want to take your questions. They can, obviously be about film, TV, actresses, theater, our bodies, whatever else. What else do we want to talk about, Anne?
Past guests, future guests, our shared history. I don't know. We're open to anything. And as Damian said, we will be curating it, but we want to have a glut to choose from. So please DM us. We are going to be here with you until the strike ends. And then we'll be back with those rock hard episodes that we are so excited to share. But until then, we'll be back here piddling away with you all, having fun, trying new things. And if there's things that you want to see or hear from us, let us know that too. We're open to constructive criticism during this window of time. We are figuring things out day at a time with you.
Folks, if you like what we're putting down, if you have been a longtime listener but have yet to leave us a review, if you're a new listener and you want to support us because you know that this is a challenging time as the strike is continuing since July, please leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. You can leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app. A few words, a couple emojis would be so helpful. We are an independently produced podcast. We work really hard to bring you new interviews, new episodes, new content, and it really helps us stay popping on the algorithm. It helps us find new listeners and is just a really valuable tool for us in continuing this endeavor.
And if you want to be DMing us those questions for our Q&A in the next episode, make sure you're following us on social media. If you aren't already, where are you? Come join us. We're at Rodeman, Rodemanne, and Damian Bellino on all mediums. And please follow us at You Might Know Her From on TikTok and Instagram. That's where we're sharing photos, videos, actresses, past, present, and future. So find us online.
As said before, You Might Know Her From is produced independently by us. That's Anne Rodeman and Damian Bellino. We also want to thank our consultants at Grumpy Entertainment, Jason Jude Hill and Daniel Sears, and all of that silky smooth peanut butter crunch. Editing you here is also by the incomparable Daniel Sears.
Special thanks to Gang. All the music you hear on every episode of You Might Know Her From is courtesy of Gang. You can download and stream Gang wherever you listen to your music.
If you want to see Reese Witherspoon in space, if you want to see clips of the Backstreet Boys verse in sync singing gospel soulful music, if you want to see what Paula Cole looks like in 2023, you're going to check out the show notes. And tell them about the show notes.
I spend a lot of time cataloging each and everything we talk about on this show so that I can re-reference it at any point. Let me just tell you, Paula Cole looks good. Check out the show notes at the bottom of the episode description. She looks great. Are you watching The Golden Bachelor?
I have watched the first, I think, 2 episodes, maybe only the first episode. People love it. I feel like I have to go back and watch. Are you watching it?
I am watching it. I'm a little behind, but I sometimes watch it on my lunch break. And there was one woman left with silver hair and she got booted. And I was like, a fucking course. I was surprised they even let a woman with white hair last on the show as long as she did. But I don't know that I'm invested. I don't ever really watch The Bachelor, but I've seen a few seasons over the course of the years. And as discussed here, you and I usually will watch The Bachelorette, not The Bachelor, if we're going to watch something. But I was taken by him at first. He's got a dead wife and he's really, really feeling it. But he is also, it turns real quick, and he is super DTF multiple women.
Oh.
I find him repulsive at this point, but it did, at first I was charmed, and I was like, wow, this really is, revolutionary. And honestly, it is somewhat exciting to see people over 50 on your TV for prolonged periods of time, because you just don't see a lot of it. That being said, all the women basically now that are left look like a version of the Bachelorette contestant, or the Bachelor contestants from 35 with a little bit of some Elmer's glue on their skin. Do you know what I mean? They all have the same aesthetic. So the aesthetic of the women is still basically the same, But one of them was like a dancer that used to work for Prince.
I know
and,
who
like,
that one
had a
is.
Prince,
I don't.
You know her?
Yeah, I don't like her.
You know her.
She was the one I found the most challenging.
There's a lot of challenging moments in the show, but there's one woman that looks like Kris Jenner with beautiful teeth, and I love her, and she's a wild woman. So I don't know. I think it's worth watching. I find him repulsive, but one thing I really do like is there's a lot of hearing aids on the show, and I feel like they're destigmatizing hearing aids for multiple populations, and I was very glad to see that. I think watch it and let me know if you would fuck him, because I know you and I like a similar type of older man.
It's true.
And at
John,
first I thought,
what's his name from the original revival cast of Chicago?
oh,
James
James
Naughton.
Naughton. He is hot, I think, by anybody's
Ed Harris
gauge.
is another one I'm ready to fuck.
Yeah, I understand that he's ropey. Ed Harris is ropey.
Yeah, you like
This
ropey.
guy, I do like ropey. Less on a man than a woman. But this guy, just listen to his voice. I said this to Brennan and Alex this week. Listen to his voice and let me know what celebrity you think he sounds like, and don't Google it.
Oh, interesting.
He has one of these voices where I'm like, you are this person, and I can't unhear it. But I actually, like, he has like a tight body. He's tall. He's still got a head of hair. But he's no Dick Van Dyke. Do you know what I mean? He is not a Dick Van Dyke.